If you're still spending hours cleaning data, writing boilerplate code, and debugging the same pipelines over and over again, you're doing it the hard way. You see, lately, Claude AI has been making serious waves, and many developers are beginning to argue that it can even outperform OpenAI's ChatGPT when it comes to structured reasoning, code generation, and long text workflows. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to automate your entire data science workflow. So from data cleaning to feature engineering, to insight generation, how we can completely automate that process with Claude AI, from raw data to insight in a live and hands-on coding session. Are you ready for it? Let's get started. Okay, so like I said, we want to automate our entire data science pipeline. We want to take dirty data, we want to clean it, we want to do feature engineering just to use your process, and we want to generate some insight. The exact same pipeline we would normally do as a data scientist, but this time, instead of us writing the code ourselves, we are going to ask Claude AI to actually do that for us. So let's get started. So I'm going to create a new file that I'm going to call config.py. And in my config.py, I am going to put in my API key, my Claude API key. And for those who are new to Claude AI, you can easily generate your Claude API key by coming to platform.claude. In my own case, this is how it looks like. You can basically come to API keys, you recharge, and then you create a new API key. So this is my own API key. You basically just click create. You can give it a name, test, and then you click add, and then it creates an API key for you. In my own case, I already have one, and so I'm going to be using that. If you've ever interacted with OpenAI's API before, Claude works exactly the same with just some little differences here and there. So we're going to do just that. Okay, so now our config key, our config.py is set up. Now we want to build the REST scripts, and I'm just going to call the client. I'm going to call the Anthropic client, and I'm just going to load in my data set at the beginning. Okay, so now what has been done so far, we are using this Anthropic library. You can simply just pip install Anthropic and then you have it. And now we are also using the .m to sort of locate where the config file is. And then I'm initializing my Anthropic client, which is this one. I'm using the Cloud Sonnet 4.6. I haven't tried other models so much from Claude, but this has worked very well for me, so I'm just sticking to that model. I'm loading in the dirty cafe sales. It's just a simple data set that you find on Kaggle. It's this one here on Kaggle, and I thought it was a good idea to just use that. So we're just going to stick to that. And you can see it's already loaded into my data set. I'm doing some quick check. The shape of the data, we have 10,000 rows, 8 columns, and I'm also just checking for null values, basically to really test the model to be sure that it can actually identify when something is dirty and it can easily clean it. So now I also have my helper function for Claude, and basically what it does is just to interact with Claude and send it a prompt. So now what we're just going to be doing for all of the three automations I want to build. So first, it's a data cleaning, feature engineering, and insight generation. The three automations I want to do, we are just going to be making different prompts essentially. So we are going to be using this helper function to communicate with Claude using just different prompts. Let's get going. Here's my prompt. I'm checking for some profile of the data set. This is the data set showing the list, the D types, the missing values, and the sample rows. And I'm just giving the Claude the instruction, get the profile of this data, and I want you to write me a Python function so that it's sort of an automation that can handle all missing values with appropriate strategies per column. And I think this is why I prefer this method than using Claude Code, where I'm going to be saying, okay, fix this here, fix this here. I can basically just generate a function and then I can plug it. I can use it also in production if I feel like it's correct. So handle all missing values, changes all data types correctly to date, numerics, and categories, removes flags, also standardizes categorical columns, validates numerical columns as well, and sending that prompt now to the helper function that we wrote earlier telling it you're a senior Python data engineer, return only executable code. So don't tell me any story or whatever, just give me the code and we're just going to run that. But I want to run the three at the same time. So let's build the second automation and I'm going to walk you through the result that I got. So now let's run it a little bit. We want to do the second automation as well. So for the second automation, like I said, we're going to be doing feature engineering, and our feature engineering, it's also the same process. I'm going to write the prompt. In the prompt, I'm just going to say, okay, this is what I want you to do. Write me a Python function called engineer features that create at least 8 meaningful features. Think about time-based features from the data column, revenue and quantity interactions, category encoding useful for machine learning models, anomaly and outlier flag. So this is the way I would think as a data scientist, trying to build my pipeline, trying to build my workflow when I get dirty data, and I'm just telling Claude to follow that same instruction and then generate for me a function that can actually do it. And so we're going to do that as well for our feature engineering, and I'm just going to be walking you through the result, and then let's see how good Claude would come out. So now let's write our third automation. Okay, yeah, so this is our third automation. More like I'm asking it to now to generate from me my EDA, my exploratory data analysis. And I'm asking it, okay, give me an executive summary that I can present in like a boardroom level, key details, top 3 revenue drivers for my cafe sales, time-based patterns, when does a cafe make most money, product recommendations to push, one surprising finding, and also recommend to me like a next ML project if I was not thinking about that already. So I want to sort of see the workflow and the thinking pattern. I would say that the result from this one will require a lot of tokens, but I'm still going to keep the maximum tokens at 2048. By the way, this is one way Claude is very different from ChatGPT. I think in OpenAI you don't have to, but in Claude you must set the maximum tokens. So let's see the result. Okay, so now we are back and it's run. It took, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. It didn't take so long to run. I'm just going to walk you through the clean data frame function. So you see, it basically went through the data set. This is how our data set looks like at the beginning, just to give you a quick look into how the data frame looks like. Let me open up a new cell here under, and then we have just to show you how that looks like. So this is how our data frame looks like. We have transaction ID, so for every transaction that we sell, and then you see also some payment method, for example, unknown, and one error, for example, in the total spend. And you see that Claude tries to understand all of that in the data cleaning process. So it basically starts by, it's highlighted a lot of steps. I'll just show you that. So this is our clean data frame function. It checks for missing values, just instructions that we gave to it, and it's looking at, you see step 1, it first of all removes all of the error or known values, as well returns them as none, replaces them with the standard numpy.nan, and also standardizes categorical columns, then convert numerical columns and handles conversion errors, validate and clean item token columns as well. So just to make sure that everything is standardized, validated also quantity column, price per unit column, also calculate and validated also total spent. So making sure that where recalculate total where it's missing or invalid. So where the total is missing, it takes the quantity and multiplies it by the price per unit, essentially. And then it does all of that and it returns to us, of course, it shows also all the processes, the first rows and everything, and then returns to us the data frame. And you see that this looks a lot clean. I just did some quick check. You see the before, the sum of the null values, we have 6,826 out of 10,000 rows, which is quite a lot. And actually, it then does a good job in making sure that it doesn't lose any part of the data, and then cleans up the data. So replaces the null values with mean, wherever it's a none, replaces it with probably the mode if it's a categorical column and stuff. And this is all done within 2-3 minutes. And this is why I say that as a data scientist, you just cannot argue and fight against AI writing code. Literally, you cannot do it at the scale at which it would do it, and probably do it as much as it. What I want to do is just sort of give an oversight over what the AI is doing, and then it makes your work faster. You can actually focus on a lot more important things. Then feature engineering. Let's look at what it does for feature engineering. We need feature engineering because we want to build an ML model. So we need it to really think through the data, making sure that the features that it creates are not just any kinds of features, but important ones. And then you see that when he actually thought through it, he looked at the payment method, for example, and thought, okay, I can put this, is it cash, is it digital, what location was it takeaway or not. Of course, if you simply do a one-hot encoding for each of these columns, you end up with all of this as well, which is sort of feature engineering, which is what you want to do. I like particularly that he was trying to flag if the transaction was high quantity. So maybe somebody bought like unusual amount of coffees. He was trying to flag that as well. And then try to also calculate the average spend per item for the kind of coffee they're buying, average location spend, and then compare also the spend versus the item average. I think thinking like that makes it quite interesting. In my case, one point I would give is I will not want to use something like this if I don't understand the data very well myself. So if I've not done a proper job in checking through the data and understanding the patterns and understanding the story behind the data, it makes no sense just going with what this guy is going to generate. But it does a good job in this case. It does a good job in this case. So I did some check. Trying to check how many new features were created, and it created about 28, which is not what I want anyway. I wouldn't use as much as that. For example, day of week, day, name, month, season. Of course, it gives us an idea of the seasons, but I would just not trust. I would just not want to use that. And by the way, I'm also saving each of the files as well, just to also just have them the different copies. The last part is the insight generation, and this is more like a data analytics work where I'm asking it to check through, write a business executive summary for me, 3 bullet points, boardroom level, give me like details of key things I need to look at. And he actually returns to me some product recommendations like push out juice selling item by volume. You had almost 21.4% share, and it holds the total top revenue rank. So like it's clear like an anchor product, sell it more. It also gave me strategies, top 3 revenue ranked items as well that you should try to tell your staff to sell a lot more. What is interesting about this is also the fact that they can get this quickly. This would normally take probably, if I was doing this alone, this would take me maybe some minutes or 1 hour, so at least of trying to focus on the work and trying to find all of these patterns. But within minutes, actually look at this, it took 53.4 seconds. So it's just crazy. And this is why I say that as a data scientist or as a data analyst, you want to use this to sort of aid your work. So that was me automating the data. I have all of the files also saved. If you are interested in the code, you want to see it, just comment code below and I'll try to get the code to you. So comment code below and I'll try to get the code to you. If you want to see me do more automations like this with OpenAI, I have another video here. I'm going to plug the video somewhere here above, and then you can check. I actually used OpenAI to analyze job titles and try to make a suggestion of which job you should apply for. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you'd like to see more videos like this, check this video out where I talk about why it is difficult to get into data science right now and what you can do differently. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.